Chris, can you give us a brief introduction to the course and how it's structured?
Yes, sure, Jeff. The course is structured to try and encapsulate the holistic perspective between people who are working in a legal contractual context and people who are perhaps working in a commercial context. Because as you know, there's a lot of interface between these areas. Now, the reason that we created this course was to try and blend that together so that it would reflect not just strictly legal focus and not just strictly commercial focus. So what we're attempting to do here is to create a program which will be of maximum real world value.
And what are the major topics and themes on the course?
Okay, well, when you look in today's very competitive marketplace, there are a lot of offerings out there. What I believe makes this course significantly different is there are elements of geopolitics and corporate social responsibility which are both very, very critically important areas to the international oil and gas industry today. So this particular course is structured to take the contractual issues and the commercial issues, but to weave them into the broader macro issues, if you like, as to what oil and gas companies need to be aware of. It's very important to state that anything commercial has to operate within a legal framework. And looking at the market, I think a lot of the programs that are available, just in my personal opinion, either tend to be overly legalistic focused, so they're just talking about clauses and terms and parts of structure, or not sufficiently covering contractual issues. So what we've done in this course is we've attempted to blend them together to create a better in-depth understanding for the delegates.
And what would you say is the ideal sort of professional or sort of industry person who would benefit most from this type of course?
Well, I think this course would have benefits to a multitude of different people. Primarily, I think perhaps legal perspective for people who are moving into what I like to think of as the macro contracts. Within the oil and gas industry, I believe that there are two spheres, for want of a better terminology, about contracts. You have the macro contracts and you have the micro contracts. Now, what I mean to clarify that is macro contracts are things such as on the course, like joint ventures, joint operating agreements, production sharing agreements, unitization agreements, etc., etc., etc. But all of these things really stem from the host government agreement. So those are your macro type of big contracts where somebody's going in and saying, we're going to operate this, a farm-in agreement, a farm-out agreement, we're going to do a service agreement, we're going to do a joint venture, etc. As we know, all these things are very common in the international oil and gas industry through necessity, through risk sharing, etc., etc. The micro school of contracts are actually your operational issues, supplier agreements, contracts for logistic provision, etc., etc.
Chris, what would you say makes this course so unique compared to other courses in the market?
Well, I think what is really the main strength in this program is the uniqueness that you refer to. We're not approaching this from a strictly legal perspective, and we're not approaching it strictly from a commercial perspective. We're entwining many real-world value-adding perspectives. This is an immersive experience. There'll be a lot of open dialogue and a lot of problem solving, a lot of discussion. What is very important to me is that anybody who leaves this course says, I picked up a lot of new knowledge and value, and I really enjoyed it. So at the end of this course, you'll have an in-depth understanding of the various contractual forms and the key features of them and how they relate into the commercial aspect. You will understand the broader geopolitical dimension, and you will also understand the critically important role played by corporate social responsibility, which will be very significant in terms of what form of contract is agreed upon by the parties to it.